jungle.
Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name's Dave, and this is episode 1735A, and today's date is December 7th, 2018, and the title of the episode is U.S., Europe, China, Russia, and others prepare for the transition. Tick-tock. Before we get started, I wanted to talk about the patriots that are fighting for our country. Every generation seems to have its own president. Each seems to define an era. Our generation will have Donald Trump as their president. He will be remembered as the president who stood up to the deep state. This holiday season, Noble Gold is offering the solid silver Trump 2020 Freedom Coin. Noble Gold has sold thousands of these beautiful coins as collector items for investments. Yes, because these are 0.999% fine silver. And today, there's a holiday special offer on right now. Go to TrumpCoin2020.com and put the code X22 to receive free shipping if you buy 3 coins or more. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we need to remember what this entire plan is all about. And I've been saying this for quite a while. Remember, the central bankers had a plan to bring down the entire system. They needed to reset it. Their system that we're in today can't go on much longer. Every fiat system has a time period where it completely collapses by itself, and they need to restart it. The plan has changed now. They're not in control. They don't have the narrative. And what we're seeing right now, there are countries, the United States included, Europe, China, Russia, they are now moving away from the dollar. They are making preparations. Now, they weren't really supposed to do this right now. I mean, they were, but we were supposed to have a war, and this would have been, presented after the war, and people would have said, okay, yeah, the United States is demolished, and we know the reason why the United States would not come out as a victor, because we know that certain individuals like the Clintons and everyone else were selling secrets, making the other side, and that would have been most likely China, stronger and having the ability to bring down planes, making ships, completely non-operational. And this would have been a turning point. This was their plan. Now, their plan is out the window. And they don't have much of a choice right now because the system is coming down. The global economic system is about to implode. Because this is the way the central bank system works. It has nothing to do with Trump's tariffs or what's going on now. It has to do with what the central banks have done from the beginning. They start a system. They run it until they can't get any more out of it. They steal the wealth from the people. And once that is all said and done, what do? Well, they cover it up with some type of an event. They don't have the event right now, and they're not going to have the event. So, what do countries do at this point? Well, they need to start to transition away from the dollar. And this is what China, this is what Russia, this is what Europe is doing right now. And many other countries are following. How do we know the system's falling apart? Well, we've been tracking the economy for a very long time. It's been falling apart very, very rapidly. Most of the numbers that are coming out of the government are the same manipulation that has been used for a very long time. Trump is just continuing this, using it to his benefit. This way, the deep state, the central banks can't, and the mainstream media can't blame him for a failed economy. Because if the economy is doing fantastic and the stock market's doing fantastic, using their manipulation against them, what are they going to do? Well, we see that certain areas, things are rapidly falling apart. I mean, the BLS report, and we know this is a completely manipulated report. We know there's a lot of people out of the job market. But what we see here is that the November payroll numbers, they completely disappointed. October was revised, and it was revised lower from 250,000 to 237,000. Now, what we're seeing is what we've seen all along. The number of people out of the labor market is at an all-time high. It's at a 4 year high. It has not moved anywhere. It has dropped to this level, which is the level back, say, around 1976 or so. And it really hasn't moved. It's bobbed up and down since 2015. And these are people that want to work, but they can't find a job. Remember, those people who haven't been on an interview in 4 weeks, they're considered no longer looking for a job. How do they count people having a job? Well, if you worked 1 hour a week, you got a job. This is manipulation at its best. We know the housing market is starting to fall apart very, very rapidly. The Fed is raising rates very, very slowly. And this is what they've done in the past. This is nothing new, and they might skip a rate or two, but they're doing it very slowly. Now, who's directing them? It is Trump. Remember, the plan is not to hurt everyone. The plan is to get rid of the central bank economy, but in the process, don't hurt the people as best you possibly can. But when you look at house flipping right now, it is at a 2-year low. And this is the canary in the coal mine for a cooling housing market. Housing flips, they are down right now, which means that people aren't going out and speculating and going out and buying that house, hoping that it appreciates, redoing it, and then selling it, because they're starting to realize that prices are coming down. When prices are going up, it's fantastic. You can go out, you can purchase a house, you got 30, 40 days to redo it. Hopefully it appreciates during that period of time. Hopefully you improve it and you walk away with a profit. When the housing prices are coming down, well, that's a little bit of a problem, because you buy the house 30 days, 40 days later, it's worth less. No matter how much you improve it, the house is worth less. And this is why people are getting out of the market. We see manufacturing jobs in the United States. They increased by 27,000 in November. Now, when we look at these numbers, we need to put it in context. In December 2016, the last month before President Trump was inaugurated, there were 12.35 million manufacturing jobs in the United States. Since he's been in office, manufacturing jobs have gone up 456,000. Now, it seems like a lot. And remember, he can't do this overnight. It's not like you snap your fingers and all the manufacturing jobs and all the companies come back to the United States. It's impossible, because the deep state, the central banks, they've had a very, very long time to move the manufacturing jobs out of the United States. But when you look at the historical data on manufacturing jobs, you get a sense of where we are at. Now, if we go back to 1979, this was at the peak of manufacturing employment. We had 19.5 million manufacturing jobs here in the United States. So right now we are 7.2 million people away from the peak manufacturing here in the United States. Even if Trump wants to bring back half of that, it's 3.5 million jobs. This is how far away we are. Now, yes, they're going to continually do this, but can they bring all these jobs back today, tomorrow, the next day? No. But we're going to be going through this transition, and it's coming up very, very quickly. What Trump is doing is he's preparing the United States to make it economically feasible for these corporations, these manufacturers, to come back to the United States. Because once we go into a transitional phase and we start to remove the regulations, we make it beneficial for these companies to come back with, bringing down the taxes, removing tax laws, and doing many of those things, manufacturing will head back here to the United States. And remember, the deep state, the central banks, they created all these regulations, they created all these tax laws to push companies out of here. It was done on purpose. Now, Trump tweeted out today, and this is a statement from China, the teams of both sides are now having a smooth communications and good cooperation with each other. We are full of confidence that an agreement can be reached within the next 90 days. I agree, Trump. And what he's doing right now, he's trying to lay the groundwork for this transition. the transition that not just the United States is going to be going through, the world is going to be going through. Now, remember, in the beginning, we talked about how the central bank had a plan to move the economic system to someplace else. They were going to destroy the old one, start a brand new system. They were going to cover this up with a major event. This is not happening. Russia and China, they've been preparing to move away from the dollar for a very long time. Actually, China most likely was slated to be the next economic power of the world. And the central bank eventually would have taken over everything that was happening there and pushing their agenda outward to the rest of the world. Today, Trump is working with China. Trump is maneuvering around the central bank. But Russia, they've set up a payment system. China has set up a payment system. Europe has set up a payment system. China has set up the petro-yuan. All of this is being done because this system that we're in today is dying. Now, Europe, we know that they're setting up a payment system. We know that Russia has been telling countries to use their national currency. Don't use the dollar anymore. We know Africa would like to use the yuan or the ruble instead of the dollar because they do more business with China and Russia than they do with the United States. So the EU right now, they're planning to create their own petro-euro system. And they're looking at all the member states, telling them that they should be using the petro-euro. Now, the EU, they're planning to create their own SWIFT alternative, as we know. They're also planning to use and create their own petro-euro. And they're going to use this for energy deals. Now, why would all these countries decide to do this now? Actually, they didn't decide to do it now. China and Russia, they've been planning this for a very long time. But Europe sees the writing on the wall. They understand that the dollar, the central bank system, it's not going to survive, and they need an alternative. And remember, there are many different central banks, but the whole goal of all of this is to join together and push the central bank system out of many of the countries. Now, can they push it out of every single country? Most likely not. But if you can push it out of the United States, if you can push it out of China, and already Putin has control over their central bank, this is why they have a very little bit of debt, and this is why Russia has been prospering for quite a while, even though the central bankers don't want you to see this. And this is why the central bankers, the deep state, have been going after Russia, because Putin is taking over the central bank. They don't like this whatsoever. Any country that does not abide by the private Western central bank, they are deemed the enemy. And we can see at this point in time that every single country right now is preparing and getting ready for a transition. You don't want to be caught holding the central bank dollar, and that is the Federal Reserve note. Because if you're holding it and the system goes down, you're screwed. And this is why Trump, Xi Jinping, Putin, all working together to transition the world away from the Federal Reserve note. And it's only a matter of time at this point, because everything is starting to collapse very, very quickly. And Trump and team, they're pushing the central bank economy to the edge. So it's going to collapse even further. Now, of course, Trump is going to manipulate the numbers to make it look like, and he's not manipulating, something that they haven't done in the past. He's using it against the central bank, the deep state, so they can't, point the finger at him. He's going to continually do what they've been doing for a very long time. Manipulation, showing that the economy's great, while in the background, everything is being done for the transition. So get prepared and ready. Everyone else is. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.